Welcome to our weekly new global media talk show. Today is February 16, 2025. Today, we're going to be discussing about university education journey in the Gambia. And we have our guest here, Yunusa Mbaye. Yunusa, welcome. And Yunusa is the Vice President of UTG-SU. Welcome to the show. And I have my co-host here, Ousman Camara. Ousman, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Sawaneh. And then, of course, thank you so very much, Yunusa Mbaye, for joining this Sunday's program. It's a weekly program that basically dwell into a lot of issues. And today we are excited that we have Senator Yunusa Mbaye as our guest today. He will take us through life as far as university education is concerned. I know sometimes it could be easy, sometimes it could be difficult. We understand, but certainly for today, he has a better understanding. Perhaps he got a lot of experience as far as education in the university is concerned. Mr. Mbaye or Senator Mbaye, please, you will take us through who is Mr. Mbaye, where you hail from, where your educational track records until this particular moment before we go into the topic proper. You have the opportunity, Mr. Mbai, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be here, and it is indeed a privilege to be invited by New Global Media for this talk show. I am Honorable Yunus Mbaye, as you highlighted. I am from Bansang, a town within the Central River region of the Gambia. I finished my senior secondary school around 2013, 2014, then proceeded to the Gambia College, where I attained a higher teacher certificate in education, specialized in English language and social and environmental studies. From then on, I got appointed under the Appointment, Disciplinary and Pensionable Establishment of the Civil Service Commission through the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education as a qualified teacher. I've been teaching for the past years until in 2021 I got admission to the University of the Gambia to pursue a bachelor's degree of arts in English language and economics. As I'm speaking to you, I have just finished my program, and on another matter, I have served as a student leader throughout my journey and time within the University of the Gambia. I'm the vice president of the University of the Gambia Students' Union and the representative of the students at the Senate, the highest academic decision-making body of the University of the Gambia. I am also a youth leader who have championed and pioneered different associations within the country, especially non-profit and non-governmental organizations. And I have also mentored a lot of students to transition into the University of the Gambia, as well as conducted tutorial services for the students in the University of the Gambia. As a representative and an executive of the University of the Gambia Students' Union, I have also tried to facilitate the provisions of a lot of items and equipment to the University of the Gambia in the form of an ambulance, for a standby ambulance for the University of the Gambia Students' Union. I have also tried uplifted the type of students who I came across with as a teacher in different schools, both government and private schools in the country. And such may be a summary of who I am. I am a Gambian, like any one of us, and it's a pleasure to be with my brothers in this show. Thank you.
Wow, that's good. That's a good summary. That's good. Um, Usman, I have another person, Alhamdu, but I guess there are a couple of people who are joining. It looks like, so we can leave the discussion as we go along. Both Usman and I could be asking questions about the university journey. So for me personally, I would also shoot it from the angle of the West, since I went through a university process in these countries, in the United States here. So I will kind of give maybe a comparison or an analysis from that angle, because I'm not familiar with Gambia University system. So would that be an addition to the show?
Indeed. I'll be welcoming that.
Okay, perfect. So let's jump right in. Can you go through Usman has dropped off, but we have Alhamdu on the show. Alhamdu, can you announce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Alhamdu Camara. Finally, a student, University of the Gambia, studying agriculture and environmental sciences. I am happy to be here, although I got the information from the Yunusa page, so I decided to join. And I'm all my ears to listen to the program. And thank you very much.
Okay, okay. So you just listen. You're not a contributor.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then we have also Davison. Davison, if you can just introduce yourself. Okay, so let's move forward. I think they will just be watching. I mean, or listening, and then perhaps jump in if necessary. So Unisa, what is this? What is this? What is the education system in the Gambia, and how would you explain it? And what impact is it doing to the general public? I mean, like the outcome, because during my days in the Gambia, I didn't go to the Gambian college, but I went to a high school, completed MTH High School, in 1989. So those years and now, we have seen that the educational system has saved a little bit, and that the outcome of the product, of students coming out from high school compared to back then, our time is totally different. you know more more intellectualism we see on graduates from high school during those days than now. So I know something has changed. We have gone into the grade system, grade for grade 9, 10, 11, and so forth. Back in the days, we just go to high school, from elementary school to high school, come and take a common chance, we go to high school. So we've seen a significant difference in terms of after students graduated from high school, during the Jawara era, and then definitely after post Jawara's era, and we see a significant lack of quality education. So I just want you to drive us through that and see what has changed.
Thank you very much. I think I get your question. You are in terms of what you mean. You are trying to give a comparative analysis between the current education system and in the past, in terms of outcome. Yes, and in terms of institutions that are available, I will want to believe that the current system is at least better, and I think I am in fact honorable to say at least is by far better than the previous system. When you come to education, the primary issue that we talk about is accessibility. There is no education policy that will undermine or underrate the power of accessibility to students. If the schools are available to students in different locations in different parts of the country, it gives the primary focus for every family member to give try to the opportunity of sending their children to education, and that has led to the surge in graduates every year. Now, when you talk about outcome, we also talk about the performance here. The performance may not be as we may have anticipated, and that is due to different exigencies that are within the system. We've realized that many students, from the previous times, at your times in the late 90s, if you see a grade 12 student, the person will be on his 2020s. But now, grade 12 student is 88, 18 years. You see, the person is a grade 12 student. So that shift, in terms of age, I don't know what has caused that, but I don't. I believe it is one of the factors. Previous secondary school education, you have graduates from senior secondary school who are well matured, even though there were little opportunities for them to go through, like Gambia College, GTTI, MDI, these are different institutions that are available right now. They were not available as of before. But you see them, they graduate with sense of maturity because of the age. When I can remember when I was young, the primary school, my grade 6, when we look at the grade 6 students, they are with beers. But when I'm teaching, I see grade 6 students that are, very, very young, 13, 14 years. So it tells you that the level of maturity within the education system, as far as I think, it should be reversed. Some grade need to be added in terms of the senior upper basic school. It should be added from 3 to 4. Then senior school should be adjusted from at least 4 to 5 years in senior school, or then that will, commensurate with the age limit to match with the number of graduates per year. For example, you will have, at least if a student is graduating at 18 years for grade 12, then he should be graduating by 20. Yeah, at least it can also, commensurate with the economic realities of this as far as employment is concerned. And now, ladies, when we talk about scholarship, before you don't have the amount of scholarships that are available. Now students have scholarship opportunities, both from private to government to non-governmental organizations. You have what you call the MRC Holland Foundation. You have the Minister of Business and Secondary Education, Minister of Higher Education. They are offering scholarship like never before, because the economy is stronger now than before. When it comes to the Minister of Education, despite the number of students increasing, despite the number of resources needed to be available increasing, there is still power of the budget that is available to promote education. So that in terms of sponsors, it is really available. Scholarships are really available, and the social media has helped, in transforming the education system. Students have access to books and other, learning materials that are never available before. So in terms of the education system right now and before, in comparison, I would prefer to say this system currently here, the current system is better than that of the last 20 or last 30 years. Yes, that is my analysis on that regard. And when it comes to outcome, I don't also believe the outcome is also there. You don't look at in average. Before you will have, okay, they said 1,200 sitting for entrance. 1,200 sitting for entrance. If the country has at least 600 people who have passed, they always celebrate. But now you look at about 15,000 people sitting for WAEC. Yes, but if you have 3,000 people who pass, the people still complain. And 3,000 is more than that 1,200. So it is about looking at the average of passes, looking at the different exigencies. There are different competitors to education right now. There are different distractors where they were not available in the previous 30 years ago, last generation. In this generation, there is too much distraction. Both political and non-political issues affect the government. You look at the registration to WAEC also is, I think the country need to reevaluate our presence with the West African Education Council, that is, or the West African Senior Secondary School Education certificate. We need to evaluate how important, how effective or effective it is, because I have seen where students that are from other countries and they do this work from other countries. We meet them in the university. Gambian students perform better than them, and they have this same work certificate. So I have a suspicion about the work qualification in terms of they give it a merit in terms of certification after their examination. I believe the Gambia education system should have registered at least or found at least one nationally accredited West African examination certificate, not WAEC. We should reevaluate our presence in WAEC. I think it's not a correct justification of our performance as far as our grade 12 examination is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Ousman. Let me let Ousman to also jump in if he has any question. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that comparison in terms of educational trajectory from the past. Now, what I just wanted to ask is, let's look at the issue of the education system at the University of the Gambia. Now, can you tell us your experience when you first entered at the University of the Gambia? Now, we understand before you goes into the university or before you were admitted, you had a lot of stories about the University of the Gambia. Tell us, what was the story before going to the university, and what was the story when you newly start, before we dwell into the subsequent experience? Just few, quick attribute or quick comparison before you go in or before you were admitted and immediately when you got admitted at the university. How was the two thing? Can you quick explain that? Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Before coming to the university, it was like a dream for many people, and others it was an opportunity. For others, it was a challenge, and still continue to be a challenge for many people. And to myself, I was a victim of circumstance. It was a challenge for me to come to the university, because as I highlighted in the beginning, I went through the Gambia College, and by so I went to the teaching system, teaching force under the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. I was there until 2000 and I think the year I got admission was actually in 2017. But I had to defer my course because I applied for political science, and I applied for the scholarship. I could not get the scholarship, and I had to continue my work as a teacher. But then for the next 2 3 years, then I came back after deferring so many for 3 years. I continued my course, then applied for scholarship under the MRC Holland. Then I got the scholarship and applied for study leave with salary. Then got it, and then continued my studies at the University of the Gambia. But before that, it was like a challenge, especially for those people in the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, teachers, or some of the young civil servants in the system who really want to come to the university, but there are barriers to entry. That is the challenge before I come to the University of the Gambia. But now, let me say, when I came to the University of the Gambia, I only, harnessed opportunities, navigated challenges, conquered fears, and I demystified some of the myths, around the university education. It's not something that is very difficult. It's the easiest that you can do, provided you are ready and disciplined. And discipline focus is self-focus in university education, because you don't have anyone that will push you. It is your desire to fulfill the mission, that is to have your degree program. That is what puts you there. So if you are not disciplined, it is self-destruction. And when you come to the university, you are exposed to a lot of opportunities in the form of joining associations, joining clubs, joining friends or youth movements, as well as taking part in political participation, the latter of which I have really benefited so far. When I came to the university in 2021, I took part in in some of our sub-association activities, and like many other students, they all students take part in activities when they school sub-associations, because in the University of the Gambia you have sub-associations. Every sub-association organize programs and events, so they need participants, and through those participation, I started taking part in activities. By taking part in activities, I started getting exposed, reaching out to new friends, making making colleagues every day in the university. So by that also you start being exposed to participation through political participation, decision making processes. You start having the awareness about elections. You start going through political means. You start taking responsibilities, and that is the extracurricular aspect of it. Now, to the most significant aspect of the University of the Gambia is academic. When you come to the academic aspect of the University of the Gambia, it's very important to know where it starts from, because from the beginning you are oriented. When an orientation is given, then the timetable is being sent. Then students are being allocated the timetable. The timetable is being given, and every student takes the class that is available for him or her. Then supporter registration is open for those that pay, and when registrations are open, you register the courses, at least a minimum, or at least a minimum of 6 courses, or you can register for that. Sorry, a maximum of 6 courses. Excuse me. One can register a maximum of 6 courses in the University of the Gambia for a program for a semester, and the tuition fee for a semester is about $18,000. And for a year, you have to pay 36,000 for some programs, up to 40 for other programs in the University of the Gambia. Then the program is taken in the fall of 2 semesters, first semester, second semester. And semester lasts for about 14 weeks, and within that you are given an opportunity to have access to direct lectures with the lecturers in the university. And for a bachelor's of 4 years, after finishing, you are cleared, and then you work on collecting your attestation. So that is a summary of the University of the Gambia, both at extracurricular and curricular level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ousman, do you have any other question before I come in?
Yes, I wish to ask this question, Mr. Mbaye. As far as the university is concerned, we want to understand the hierarchy of leadership, okay, at the University of the Gambia.
You are a student leader. You represent the student at the Senate level. So we want to understand the hierarchy level of the leadership as far as the University of the Gambia is concerned. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. The hierarchy of the University of the Gambia is determined in two folds. We have at the top is the governing council, then you have the Senate, then you have the faculties and staff, then you have the general student body. And now, when we come to the governing council, it comprises of the chairman of the governing council, who is appointed by the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. Then the governing council has a secretary who is automatically the registrar of the University of the Gambia. Then you also have the vice chancellor, the members of the government, and then the president of the University of the Gambia Students Union as a member. That is, the governing council is the highest decision-making, is the decision-making body where policies are formulated, revised, and then implemented. It is by the governing council. Then the other body is the Senate. The Senate is the highest academic decision-making body. It's where academic matters are discussed, and it comprises of the vice chancellor, who serves as the chairperson. Then you have the registrar, also serving as the direct secretary. Then you have the deans of all schools or faculties, including the provost for the School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences. Then myself and any other vice president of a students' union is an automatic member of the Senate. In the Senate is where grades, that is marks for students, are being discussed, where academic issues, whether to approve or disapprove grades that are being marked by lecturers, or also where the timetable for the University of the Gambia academic year, where the academic calendar, where the makeup exam, summer grades, where all academic matters are discussed, is the Senate. Then when you come to the next on the ladder, you have what you call the faculty and staff. Every school has a dean, and each dean comprises of faculty officers and lecturers. The faculty officers are responsible for facilitating the day-to-day work within the faculty, and the lecturers are responsible for lecturing students within the University of the Gambia for each faculty. Each faculty is led by a dean. Then you have what you call the students' body. The students' body comprises of every student that got admission to the University of the Gambia until he or she collects his or her attestation. The student body is also having a union that is registered and under the Education Act and the Higher Education Act of the Gambia. And the union is led by a council of 12 executives who run the affairs of the students and have direct contact with the management. They are also responsible to facilitate the welfare of the students. We are the 22nd Executive Council of the University of the Gambia Students Union. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so very much. Sawaneh, if you have a question, you could ask
Yes,
that before I proceed.
yes, yes. So like I said, in the universities here, the educational systems in the West, we've seen that the outcome of the the byproduct of studies actually translate into workforces. In the Gambia, we have seen and we have had a lot of complaints that the university students cannot find jobs. They cannot utilize their education. Some of them even they have to venture back way, and then they have to also sit, be on the street, trying to do hustle around. So the idea of focusing on skilled jobs or jobs that will be practicalized so that people can be able to either work on their own or work in the private sector or even in the government sector. So those kind of education pathway we've seen a lacking in the Gambia. Okay, and then that is causing us a lot. So instead, everybody want to put on a suit and a tie, and everyone want to be working in the office while there is no enough capacity. So my question is, what is the Gambian education system in the colleges and so forth? What are they doing to diversify, the same old way of doing things, which is, you know, go and study, only theories, and at the end of the day, you are without a job because there's no much job out there for that. Are they looking into creating more skilled jobs, work, hand on, things, hands on jobs, things that you yourself, or your friends could just go and establish their own, ventures, business ventures, or create their own things from what they learn. So I think this is an issue in the Gambia. I don't know if the government is addressing it, but to go to school just for the sake of it and get that paper degree, sometime cannot get you the jobs. So my point here is our Gambian, Gambian education system in the universities, in colleges, are they looking to create other venues where people can use their skills, and work and find jobs, even if they are not employed by the mainstream government.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Uh, it is true, the system here in the Gambia recently, in the last 2, 3 years, I've seen the introduction of several universities, especially University of Science, Education, Technology. You said you have also seen the University of how to call it, Public Service University, that is the MDI, being turned to a Public Service University. You have the University of Education, Gambia College is now changed to the University of Education. So the system is diversifying, trying to catch up, whereby they will offer degree programs to technical and vocational education trainings, like TVET programs. And this is directed to the University of Science and Education Technology. I believe the country, even though we are far too behind, but we have realized the importance of TVET education. That is technical and vocational education training in the education system, because it has been promoted. I have taken part in a nationwide tour in the promotion of Tibet education in the Gambia in 2023. And the idea is welcomed by people of different communities that we have reached so far. And also the government will be ready to support that endeavor. However, it is very, very far from what we are seeing when it comes to the search or the need for employment of the youth. There is demand, high demand for employment, and the market for employment is very, very low. And as far as the universities are being increased in terms of number, this means the demand for labor will also it will also naturally increase. So it puts the government in a test of chance to look for employment opportunities for these graduates in the next 4 years. Because if you have a single university where students are struggling for employment after graduation, and then you double or triple that to 4 universities, then you are to provide double of what you are providing as far as employment opportunities are concerned. I am seeing that it is going to be a test, and I don't know whether the government can stand the test of chance or test of time. But it's a reality. It's an economic reality that we mustn't massage. We cannot massage the truth. It is the truth. The government is to be tested in this regard. What will happen in the next 4 years? Are there employment opportunities available for these graduates from these new formed universities or new transformed colleges or institutions into universities? Are they going to be employed? Are they going to be provided with much employment opportunities? And if there are employment opportunities, what will be the pay? What is going to be the stability of those employments? Let it not be in the form of projects. You are added to a project within 1 month, within 3 months, the project is finished. You go back to the street. We have seen that happening in this country, and it is not what we yearn for. You cannot go for a program for 4 years. You finish a program. You are joined to a project only 6 months. That's what the government can do for you. The project is finished. You go back to the street, and that is happening in this country. And I believe the government will look very, very well into that to improve on that part. I want to also put it to you that I believe employment is a very, very big indicator as far as our economy is concerned in this country. Many people talk about the income, talks about corruption and other things. But I think employment, if we are employed, the income per capita will increase and crime rates will reduce. And we have just been seeing that. And I believe the government, through education system, should be the primary source of encouragement on that part. That is making education accessible. I wanted to put this thing there. Education is not really accessible in this country. When it comes to scholarship from the Ministry of Business, let me put it this way: you see a student graduating from the senior secondary school who had free education, only paid for WIC. Then the person graduate with 9 credits, and then university will tell you that they don't have a scholarship for him, or scholarships are finished, you don't have scholarship. Then there is no motivation. That is the difference between the system that you were talking about. In your system in the 1960s, 1980s, you pay, your fathers and your mothers will pay your school fees, and they take responsibility for the books that they put in this education. The child takes responsibility, the student takes responsibility, the family takes responsibility, teachers take responsibility. But now it is free education. Parents don't take responsibility, and they say it's joke and say so that free education is what leads to that lackadaisical attitude on the side of the parents, not motivating their children or not encouraging or taking matters seriously. Then others will fail. Those who pass, after passing, they don't have chance to go to the university directly because they lack scholarship. So to me, I will suggest the system to change in that regard. Let it be let it be reversed. Let upper basic and senior secondary education be paid for. Then tertiary institution education be free, provided that you reach a certain requirement. That is, you have 6 credits or 5 credits, including English and mathematics. You have free scholarships to the university. Then it will promote quality and even quantity of people who come to the University of the Gambia. So I believe the problem of employment, it is a threat as far as the number of universities have increased. But also we have to accept the reality that education has getting rise to power in this country. If that is already what we are seeing. We have seen 4 universities instead of 1 university. We have seen colleges being transformed to universities. Now the test is whether employment will be available. But as far as the availability of access to those universities is concerned, we have it. So when we talk about employment, it is a test of chance and test of time. Thank you.
Okay. You mentioned one thing about the time of our days in high schools in the 1980s and 1970s or so. Our parents pay for it, so that make it really, that make it useful, or that make it more motivating for us to acquire the education we need. Yes, we sweat. I mean, even if our parents don't pay for it, we pay for it ourselves. Like for me, I used to, work on the farm and then get my school paid through that because my parents couldn't afford. Okay, that's fine. That is fine, perfectly. So nowadays, you're saying that maybe there's no motivation from the parents. They would think that there is scholarship out there. Go look for that, and that's it. And that in turn, the students will not study. I think everything in our society right now is contributing factor. The fact that people have in their head they must travel to succeed is a contributing factor. People want fast life, fast money is a contributing factor. People are becoming lazy, fast way, in order for us to go through sufferings and to go through the education, the pain in the education. People feel like, they don't have to do that. I've seen friends who told me, when I tell them to go to college, they said, well, if I'm getting making money like the college graduates make, what is the point to go through that hassle if I can make money? Okay? Because there are internet, world. People are making money through, you know, fraud, credit card frauds, you know, manipulating, hacking, and manipulating stuff and so forth. Online activities. So they don't feel the need that they have to work really hard like we did. They don't feel that need. They had to work really hard. They don't feel the need to go through the pain of education in order to succeed. So that being the case, they would not weigh it. They will not weigh education. So I have seen friends, colleagues. I try to convince them. They say, "Listen, I'm getting paid. I'm paying my bills. I'm paying my rent, and I'm okay. So I'm making the same money that somebody graduated makes. So why should I go through that discipline? So the point is that the world has changed. We have to accept that. And then we become our generations, younger generation, become more lazy. They don't want to go through the hassle, but they don't know what education brings, because somebody who is making the same money as an educated person, he cannot be compared, because you know why? That man who had went through a proper education has more on his belt or her belt when it comes, to certain things, critical thinking, when it comes to, utilizing, knowledge in certain aspects. So yes, you can be making the same money, but the person with that has more advantage. So we need to see focus from that concept. And then I urge the government and other, organizations to motivate people, to try to, put incentive on education, to reward people who went through formal education and give them, what is needed. Yeah. But again, I just want to say that, the reason why our time, because we put our money, into education. We worked. If you are poor, you go to the farm, you farm, near Tio Wafi, yeah, son, you school fees, Joe. Yeah. So those are the things, you know, and then there might be scholarships then also, but it's not as, what you think. It's not as many as you think, because even that scholarship, those also are very competitive, because people in power, they give it their own. Yeah. So that's what I want to add to that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I believe you have also said something that is right. Actually, some of you paid for yourselves. What I was trying to say is misplacement of priority by the government through that scholarship. It should be like transformed, where tertiary education scholarship is already available for those who have a pass mark. For example, the government can implement a policy that if you have about 5 credits, including English and mathematics, you have free scholarship to learn in any tertiary institution. Then that kind of a motivation is intrinsic, that is internal in the student, because the students will know that automatically, hey, if I finish and get these things, I am going to get free scholarship to any university or any institution in this country. Why not I then work out on this for this thing? But now students are going there. After graduating, they are still struggling for scholarship. That is the reason why they will tell you, I am going to travel and make it. I'm going outside back way, then I can have it and make it. Because the access to education is made difficult for some people. Not everyone has the opportunity, even though they are the government through the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Ministry of Higher Education, through the MRC Holland Foundation, are all giving scholarships. It is indeed true. I am a beneficiary of the scholarship. But it is not enough. It's not enough. It's just that is just about maybe less than 40% or 50% of the students of the University of the Gambia, and the number is increasing. As I'm speaking to you, have about 10,000 to 11,000 students in the University of the Gambia, and that is a huge number, and it increases by every semester. So what is needed to be done is tertiary education should be primarily free, provided there is a requirement that is to be attained by a graduate from the secondary education system. For instance, you have about 6 credits, including English and mathematics. You are giving free education to any tertiary institution of your choice within the country. That kind of motivation is internal. It's called intrinsic motivation. Thank you, my boss.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr.
Usman, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Mbaye, I just want to ask this quick question. Your representation at the Senate, can you tell us your journey there, because and your experience so far at the Senate level? Remember, it's a massive responsibility for you. But so far, tell us your experience. How has it been for you?
Yes, my representation of the Senate is determined by a constitutional mandate by the Constitution of the University of the Gambia Students' Union as amended in 2021. By virtue of being the elected vice president of the University of the Gambia, I represent the students at the Senate. As I said, my journey to the Senate was not easy. It was full of challenges at a political level. It includes going through campaign rallies, what we call endorsement by students, nomination by students, endorsement by the Electoral Commission, and then accepted by the Electoral Commission. You undergo vetting, interviews, then undergo campaign and elections. So it has never been easy, not for me alone, but for many people who have come to this position and has gone over. But as far as I am concerned, my part at the Senate is different from different senators, and this is for the records that I'm the first senator to bring the Senate to closer to the students. I made sure that matters that are discussed at the Senate that are about students' issues are reach to the students. I've created a platform where I interact with the students. Whatever is discussed, I write in my minutes and then share it with the students. That was never happening before for over 22 years of our existence as a union. I made sure that also academic matters are taken very seriously. And in the past 2 years, there was a restriction on the faculty staff to have access to the portal in order to approve grades. They were only able to upload grades due to one or two reasons before. But recently, I have managed to encourage the Senate to push for that and to make sure faculty staff are allowed to approve grades, that is courses for students in the University of the Gambia. My responsibility at the Senate includes responding to the needs of the students, and include discussing during debating on education policies in the Senate. Also, I also talk about issues that are affecting students or matters that are in schools that are not in the interest of the students, and problems between students to student or students to lecturer relationship. I also take part in that. I also follow up grades, marks that are not submitted to the students, in their portals, or their grades are not submitted. I make sure I follow it up. And at the Senate also, we discuss the academic calendar, the draft academic calendar, and then the how dates are being inserted and how the different activities are being inserted into the academic calendar. The academic calendar, mind you, is where all the academic activities of the university are captured in an academic year. So we also discuss about the preparation for exams. After exams, we normally every month I am part of the Senate meetings that have been organized. I've never been absent for a Senate meeting, and we discussed the next Senate will be on the 26th, where we will be discussing consideration of grades for these past exams. So basically, it's all about academic matters in the Senate. Except otherwise, there have been nothing but challenges, but I was able to navigate through them, and I am happy to be part of the people that will change the life of students. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. One more question before we have 42 minutes gone of our time. Mr. Mbaye, one more time. The issue of the students representing them at the Senate level. Remember, you are dealing with senior men, especially people or lecturers or let's say deans from different faculties. How have you been interaction with them? How do they look at you? How do you look at them at the Senate? Can you tell us your experience about that?
Yes. When it comes to that, it depends on your individual brilliance, the quality of your interpersonal relationship, and the actualization and realization of the environment where you find yourself in. As far as the Senate is concerned, you are there with professors, you are there with deans. What you need to do is to give respect to their designation, their and their antecedents. But you are also there by virtue of a constitutional mandate to represent the interests of the students. So you have to be formal and official. You have to be pragmatic and also be disciplined in what you are doing. And that I have been always doing that. It doesn't mean I fear anyone. It doesn't mean I over respect people to a level that I don't speak out. I just handle things as the way they are. Be original and be contextual based on how situations happen. You handle them by that, and be objective. Handle things objectively. I interact with every Senate member or every senator, but I have never had any personal issues with anybody. But that notwithstanding, I have always been pressing the red buttons when it comes to the needful. I don't play with that. I can remember my encounter with one of the senators where the school, the preparation for the exams was not really done well. I told the lecturer the exams, you need to at least go back to your school, let them do the needful. And he appreciated it. And there are certain things there I put to them. I am not the only one there, but you can ask many people or senators alike. They will tell you, I don't fear without complacency or negligence, like I always say. What needs to be done will be done, and what I need to say, I will say it as far as the interests of the students are concerned. But to say, being with different people is never a barrier for me. It's in fact a motivation. Sometimes these people, you learn a lot within. You learn about what a council does. You learn about what it means to be a senator, what it means to be a decision maker. You learn to work with academics. These are academic juggernauts. These are academicians for over more than 30 years of academic work as professors and lecturers. So it's always a motivation for me instead of a challenge to say. It's always a motivation to go to the Senate. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sawaneh, can you you can
Yes.
go through now.
Yes. So I know the Gambian University is definitely has really improved and has created like a whole kind of like a nation of educators. I see Ousman running for currently running for a role, and you're also a vice president. So I see that leadership is really becoming a center stage of the university, which our country Africa needs. Africa need leaders, and I just want to see, because I know like there are some graduates like Dr. Ceesay and other folks from the university. So my concern now is, since we are a deficiency when it comes to education, sorry, when it comes to like leadership, we have seen failed leadership in our country since the inception. Jawara was somewhat okay, but after Jawara, everybody that follows suit, either as a leader, as a president, or even the most important cabinet ministers, we haven't seen the leadership potential that Gambia deserve. So is the university creating these roles, recruiting you guys to leadership positions? Is the university really working very hard to make sure that when these leaders are groomed and ready, for the external world, they wouldn't be infiltrated with the same corruptive system in the country? Because, like I said, we have seen byproducts of the universities that were really disappointing, and they are young guys like you and Usman and others. Because the reason why I'm saying that our future relies on the hands of you guys, you know, as I can say on us, because we are all, at least under 60, and so I can say we all have a role to play. But what I'm trying to say here is that, is the education system in the Gambia, or could you advocate for strong ethics, leadership ethics, so that when you are given responsibility tomorrow as a minister or as a civil servant or whatever, you would be able to translate that to the
Thank you
person.
very much. Thank you very much. If I can get you right, I really, really understand your question. And what you meant is, what are the preparations for student leaders in the future of Gambian politics or Gambian context? It is personal. Individuals have their personal traits, and greed is always there in the open. It depends on how you can subjugate yourself for it, or they try and challenge yourself against greed. We have seen some politicians like the EP characters you just mentioned, being part of different political movements. It is personal. Everybody is entitled to your opinion. Is entitled to freedom of association, freedom of assembly, freedom of movement. Is inherent in our legal dispensation in this country. So I have no iota of reservation against that. But one thing I believe is every human being, every conscious Gambian in this country, or the sincere allegiance to the national order of being a patriotic citizen by doing the right thing, by joining positive movements in this country. Being interested in the political limelight should not make you, rallying behind falsehood, parading behind politicians and then speaking issues that are not happening in this country. I've seen recently where ministers have given fallacies about the economic situation of the country, which are not actually true. And this is not something that is morally right. And as young leaders in the University of the Gambia, we need to contextualize your question. We are being guarded by a constitution and as well as code of conduct by every association or council. That code of conduct is what defines and determines your behavior in the council. With that code of conduct, you are molded as a very, very professional leader within the university to your graduation. Then, if that is done, I think that's where the mandate of the university is stopping at. The university is not mandated to the behavior of any student that is outside the university or has finished university. What happens there comes to personal, like I started. It's all personal. Individuals have their personal traits and they have to, stand to the test of chance by fighting against greed, selfishness, political, bigotry, cronyism, nepotism, favoritism, or whatever, corruption. It is our individual. We have to be personally ready to challenge that, but it is not in an institution level, as far as I'm concerned. No matter how I am being trained at the university, because I have served in two councils in this university. I have served as the vice president of the education students. That is, we call it EDUSA. And now I am serving as the vice president of the students union, that is main university union. This means I have served in two councils and I am molded. I have understood what it takes to be a leader on a professional level. So now if I graduate, it depends on me, the individual, whether I am going to materialize what I have learned or not. But I don't think the university has any other mandate on the individuals as far as that is concerned. I believe also the government can work on what we call sensitization programs on youth leadership, professional leadership, ethical leadership that can be used, through civic education, through programs. Government can promote that through the National Youth Service Scheme, through the National Youth Parliament. They can promote those things. Caravans can be done, reach out the country to discuss those issues is possible. But I don't think the university has every mandate on the behavior of their alumni. What they can do is they can work when you are within the university. But when you are outside, because before graduation, you are accredited in two things, in both competence and character, before you receive your attestation. So once you receive your attestation, mean the university have approved your competence and your character as a good person, good citizen. So after that is you, the individual, and we all owe ourselves this responsibility to make sure we are good Gambians and patriotic citizens. We have a choice to make this country better with absolute honesty and patriotism. Thank you.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, because I was really quick, hurry for you to finish. Yeah, so you mentioned two things here. You said that it is up to you as an individual. It's a character. It's a character thing. It's how the person, the makeup of the person. But we have seen institutions have taken pride on their citizens. I can say, I would say they are citizens. When the good things are done, because I remember 2 years ago when there was a fire here in the Bronx, and then 18 Gambians, 18 citizens, 18 Africans who died from that fire, and then my organization raised over $1 million, and then my schools, because I found that organization, I didn't report anything. But when the news said that, I was the founder, they went and researched two schools and say I brought my bio and then put it on their website, put it on their LinkedIn page, stating that our own students was the founder of the organization that raised fund over $1 million. I didn't do that work to get that out, because I don't even contact those schools, my undergrad school and my graduate school. So what I'm trying to say, anything that you guys do, the university, being good or not, the university still would have to deal with that. Either they say it or not. The way that you're gonna know that today, if you become Gambian president or you win, Nobel Prize winning, the Gambian University would say, Yunusa Mbaye which was our child. We brought him up. They will take credit for that. So this is not, something that is a disconnect. Secondly, what I was trying to say that is that civic education need to be the center stage of Gambian education because Gambian citizens lack patriotism, including us. I will not take myself there. I'm inside. Okay, we lack it because it was never taught during my time in Armitage High School, in my elementary school, and it's not still been a center stage. And some countries are doing everything they could for the love of country before love of self. So if the government is not doing it, the educational system, the countrymen and women should get up and make sure that they make sure that they protest for this to be a center stage because that's the only way we can build our nation. Right now, any leader we bring to power, it goes down in the drain. Not because of that leader, it's because this education, civic education, patriotism is not there. So this is what the Gambian University and all the other Gambian colleges should be, centered around. It's important, yeah, to become a lawyer, to become, like a businessman. But after all of that, if this love of country, love of self, civic education is not there, the center will not hold. Things will fall apart. You and I and Ousman will never come together because you know why? Your pocket is full. Ousman's pocket is full. Who cares? The center will not hold. So you guys who are in this leadership, I oblige you to propaganda this. And this is not all about government. Sometimes if it's not coming from the top, it has to come from the bottom. So you guys have the future in your hand. You can make it happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so
Usman, do
very
you have
much.
anything?
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr.
If you
Sawaneh,
don't have anything, we can close. Yeah, but I hope you, Usman, you are also, because this is not only
yes,
going towards.
Mr. Sawaneh, thank you so very much. Mr. Mbaye, thank you as well. I think we have now we will be drawing the curtain very shortly because time is definitely up. But before that, Mr. Sawane, we'll give the opportunity to Mr. Mbaye to give us at least maybe few comments, last few comments. I'm sure we'll have Mr. Mbaye here one more time, but for the meantime, we'll of course allow him to go. But Mr. Mbaye, please, give us some few comments before we allow you to go. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Conclusively, I want to reaffirm my humble appreciation to New Global Media for giving me this opportunity to express the university education journey in the Gambia to students. Vote for those who are willing to come. Let them come. Let them not fear. Let them not have the fear in them. Let them be resilient. Let them go for it. It's an opportunity. And for those that are in the university, let them take up the challenge as an opportunity, not a challenge. Let them work for it and then get their grades. And for those who have finished the university, you have to serve as better alumni or alumnus to the University of the Gambia. We all owe our destiny to the university as alumni. Let us try and be good citizens wherever we are. And to your TV program, that is my brother, Momodou Sane. I am very, very much happy to be with you here, and I have learned a lot, and I really, really enjoyed. Thank you, Honorable Ousman, and thank you to New Global Media. I look forward to another encounter and exciting time with you. Thank you very much to my followers and friends out there, those who have been following as well. Good day to you all.
Yes, thank you so very much, Mr. Mbai. Thank you so very much. We are very pleased that you accepted our invitation to join this discussion. It has been very educative. It has been so matured. It has been so profound, and we really appreciate that. Of course, personally, I'm excited that you answered our questions so maturely and so professionally accordingly. On behalf, and then of course my boss, Mr. Sawane, and of course we are saying big thank you, Mr. Sawane. Over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Usman, for definitely bringing Eunice. I learned a lot as well. This is what this is what this whole platform is to share, come together, share knowledge for those who need voices, or those who need to be heard. We are not an expert, subject expert in everything, but we come here and then contribute. My other co-host Famara and then Sam, we're not able to join us today, but thank God we have Yunusa, and we have Ousman, yourself, and other, Lamin Toure, and others, Alhamdu, and others who are watching. Please share the link, and then people can hear. And Eunice, definitely you really did an awesome job. I mean, I'm really proud, with all the stuff that you're doing. And definitely, I'm also proud of Usman for his contribution towards education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mbaye, thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all
Thank
viewers. So we catch up next week, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Alhamdi, and thank you, Momodou Lamin Giba, and thank you, Lamin Toure. All of you, thank you.